Hello. Just checking to see that I am in and online. Amazing, amazing. Hi, everyone. My name is Chloe, and just making sure everything is in here. So my name is Chloe, and I am going to be speaking to you today all about rewiring your mind for authentic success. I am a visual learner, so I created some visual cues for us today to really move through this workshop. So today, again, we're talking about rewiring your mind for authentic success. And if you are watching this video live, go ahead and drop in the comments below that you're watching #live. And if you are watching the replay, #replay, because today's workshop is super interactive and I want to get you guys involved in the communication and the discovery throughout this whole process. So feel free to drop any comments or questions in the text box below. I will be doing my best to monitor the questions and make sure that whatever is coming up for you is answered. So have some patience. Maybe throw something in the comments box right now for those of you who are live to let me know if I can see your thoughts and questions. I want to make sure I am there supporting you. So today we are going to be talking all about authentic success. And something I think is really important about this whole thing is my story and how I've kind of gotten here. So pretty much, I have a background. I'm an industrial systems engineer and former corporate consultant turned life transformation coach and success coach with the side of breath coaching. And the reason those two things are really important with my progression through authentic success is that I, during that transition period, spent a lot of time spinning around and feeling unsuccessful and feeling like I was not achieving the dreams that I had set out for. And not only for my own personal journey and my personal development, but I also witnessed this in corporate America. So when I was in consulting, I'd be going in and helping clients solve their business needs and really get to the root cause of what was going on. And I noticed this trend across people and my clients that often the problem was not the solution or the gaps in the process, but it was the perception and the mindset around making change or implementing something new and the lack of ability to get behind that new thing. And that often came from our minds. So that was one aspect of things. Another aspect of things is that I also have witnessed through my peers in engineering or in as I've been traveling, noticing and witnessing entrepreneurs and digital nomads who have spiraled around success was that they too couldn't really get themselves really behind what they were doing. Despite having these amazing dreams and really wanting it, they were still running into limits, right? And everything changed for me as I started to learn about my mind, okay? And what we're going to get into today is really understanding our mind and really understanding how our mind is impacting our ability to succeed, okay? And so what's really cool about this today is, again, we are doing this in an interactive setting. So everyone, I really want you to participate. It'll really help you get more out of this experience. So what I'm going to have you do right now is to drop down into your body and really get yourself grounded into your space around you. I want you to close your eyes, bring awareness to your breath, and notice the subtleties in your body Bring attention and awareness to your current feelings moving throughout. What's alive for you right now? I invite your mind to settle here and now in the present moment with me on this authentic success workshop. Now bring your awareness to that word success. It's kind of taboo, this really big word, okay? Notice the feelings that arise when I say that word. Observe where they are present within your body. Notice if there's a texture or a color. Do these feelings associated with the term success seem positive to you or perhaps negative? Remember that all the feelings that you're feeling around this word are welcome, and we need not judge them. So what I'm going to do next is we are going to move into, as you come out of your body and back into this space with me here and now, in this present moment, we're going to understand why you feel the way you do when you hear the term success. And we're going to map out a plan for you to align yourself with your authentic definition of the word success. So I always find this part really fun because I love looking at different ways people classify things, okay? So I am finding my definition, right? So we're going to look into success. I was supposed to put this one up earlier. So I did a little Google search about the definition of success, and there were the main dictionaries came up, okay? And this is what came up. So success, an accomplishment of aim or purpose, right? Attainment of popularity, profit, wealth, favor, okay? Superiority, eminence. Achieving the results that were wanted or hoped for. So we're in the Whole Health Project group right now. Wellness practitioners, healthy, balanced souls. I'm assuming most of you are, okay? So immediately some things jump out to me about this definition of success. And I know we're getting into this nitty gritty. You might be like, yeah, Chloe, I know this. But this part is important. So think about the terms that have been used here, right? So accomplishment, attainment, achievement, right? So what does that always assume? That assumes it's done, right? So we have to get somewhere in order to be successful. So that inevitably creates a gap between where we are and where we want to be. And Abraham Hicks is one of my favorite places to go for inspiration. And the concept of when we focus on the separation between us and our desired state, that is where we get suffering. That's where we have dis-ease, right? So when we focus that success must be accomplished, attained, or achieved, we are inevitably creating this gap. Another problem I have with these common definitions, right? Popularity, profit, wealth, superiority. That freaks me out. So I remember always feeling like that's what success was. I had to have power. I'm successful, right? It's very masculine. And then profit. I have to have money to be successful. And I'm not saying that you might not be, wouldn't be popular or superior. Oh, I don't like that word. But of more power, influence, have more profit or wealth when you are successful. I'm not saying that that's a bad thing, but what I'm saying is when you look at a common dictionary definition or Google it, having the terms like this really make us feel like there's a lot of gap of other aspects, which we'll get into in a moment. So that's just some frustrations I have with this. So I'm gonna have you now though drop in to your body again. Interaction, right? So drop back into where you're at. And it's never too soon for another visualization. So drop in and think about success from that definition. Close your eyes, maybe, whatever you need to do. I invite you to also use the chat box to interact here, to say what this might bring up for you. But think about success through the lens of your parents. Think about success through the lens of your elementary school teachers. Think about it through the teachings of your high school teachers or your college professors. Yes, we are adults. I know most of we're all out of college, where that's all distant past, but these things are important. Our subconscious mind, which we'll get into later, is locked in when we were younger. So think back. Think about the bosses, all the bosses you've had. Think about your peers, media, success, the church, religion, success. What are you feeling? What are you seeing? What does this look like? Again, if you're feeling so called, drop in the comments. If you're watching the replay, still do this. I'm so excited to tune back in and see what people come up with. So the reason I just had you do that, I will get into in a minute. And we'll come back to it. But it's really important for us to really be able to differentiate what success is to other people and outside of ourselves, and what success is to us. Okay? So that is going to be discussed and continue to go over. But in the meantime, put that on the back burner. My favorite definition of success. If you have not read The 7 Spiritual Laws of Success by Deepak Chopra, I highly recommend it. I actually was just given this to me by a friend again. I've read it a couple years ago, and I opened it up, and it was just like sinking back into something so homey. It was just such an amazing book. It's a quick read. So he defines success right at the beginning as continued expansion of happiness. I'm already liking it. Progressive realization of worthy goals. Health. What is it? I can't read upside down. Health, energy, creative freedom, well-being, fulfilling relationships. Those are some things he defines could be success, right? He also says things about wealth. Yeah, that's a component of success, but he's very clear that that's not at all, right? And what I love about this, he also talks about, and many of us realize this, is success is a journey, not as a destination, which is a complete opposite of that original accomplishment, attainment, achievement, right? So if we think about success more as this journey, it is really helps us expand our mind. So when we look at this definition, there's many things I love. So some things: continued expansion, progressive realization. This is the concept and this idea that our definition of success and our views on success can be continuously evolved, which means our actions in the world and our dreams and our desires can also evolve, right? And I think what we're gonna get into in a minute is the concept of values and their impact on success. So in terms of his definition about worthy goals, so are your goals, and what does worthy mean to you? And for me, worthy is one and the same as values. Okay, so when we are really continuously, progressively realizing our values-centered goals, that is where we're going to be most successful. All right, so a lot of people are feeling this dis-ease or this separation from, or this inability to really connect with this I'm going to get all this money. I'm going to do all of this stuff, right? And like, or like, this is the 10th step to be successful. And you like are doing all these steps and you're like, I thought I was supposed to feel successful at the end of it. And you're wondering like, what is going on? Why don't I feel good? It's often because it's not a worthy goal for you. It's not a self-aligned, authentic, personal value-centered goal. And that's where we're having this disconnect, okay? So a big thing about this is that, like, many people, again, like I'm going to say this again, many people design their businesses or their lifestyles without consciously pausing, reflecting, and ensuring there's an adequate alignment with their core values, okay? Then they get stuck. Then they're like, what's going on? Why don't I feel right? Why is this so hard, right? And when we are doing, and exactly, thank you for showing up for this. Thank yourself for showing up for this workshop right now, because what you're doing here is learning the skill of checking in on your values and your authentic definition of success and getting yourself aligned so that you can go out there and achieve it. And we're going to talk about what is happening within our minds, which is blocking us to get there. So that's part 2 of this workshop. But right now we're getting really clear. So right now, right here, right now, we're going to get you clear on your core values, okay? So another big aspect of this is that your values change over time. And your values are your values. And no one can judge one person's values over another. Like, we all are like unique beings, and when we are authentic to ourselves, we're going to have slightly varying values, and that's great, because if we all value the same things, we'd all be doing the same things, and our world would be vanilla, right? We want like this like crazy flavorful world that's just big and amazing, okay? So again, right here, right now, don't worry about anything else. If you have your notebook, drop it into your notebook in the comment section. Go ahead and right now pull out your core values. All right. So I did this earlier, and what mine ultimately looked like was this. Right. So I sticky note. I love, again, visual learner. So I sticky noted. But I'm gonna have you do this right now. So drop into your space. Drop into who you are. Jot some things down. Really use this time right now. You don't have to think about it. This is the thing. You're like, oh, I can do this later. You don't need to do this later. If you're watching now, just do it right now. Write down. You don't even have to share it with me if you have a sticky note on your laptop. Put it there. Write out some core values. So some just to stir, like get your head moving, right? So maybe you value adventure, creativity, family, faith, fun. These are just some examples. I've got balance on mine. Make it fun. Have fun with this part. Get clear on your values. So we're quickly going to move right from this exercise into a visualization. So if you have gotten your values down, this is where success comes back into the picture. So I'm in Bali and it's kite season right now. So there's kites all over the sky. If you're in Bali, you know what I'm talking about. So our visualization is going to go a little something like this. So drop into your space again. And bring your awareness to your right here, right now. And imagine a big kite, that rhombus floating in the sky and the string attached to the bottom. And imagine yourself reaching up and grabbing that kite and it pulling you up into the sky. You're released in the wind. And imagine your body floating high, high, high into the sky. And you're traveling not across land, but across time into a place 1 year in the future. 1 year in the future where you are authentically successful. From up in the sky, you can observe yourself down on earth, going about your day, doing the things you do. 1 year out in the future, when you've achieved value-centered success. Notice what you observe. What's your lifestyle like? What are your relationships like? What type of work are you doing? How do you interact with your coworkers or your clients or your staff? How do you speak to your audience or your clients? No thing is off limits in your authentic success. There's no idea, concept, or thing that can't be included in this beautiful world of yours. Now, imagine yourself being reeled back in, that kite being reeled back in as you slowly leave that visualization, pulled yourself back across time, back down into the here and now. Maybe rub your thumbs across your fingertips to land back in your body and the space around you. And take a moment to take note the ideas, the aspects, and the concepts and the visualizations which just landed there for you. Write it down. Pen to paper is so beautiful. Or keys to keypad. Pen to paper is my favorite. So as you are writing down what you just visualized, I'm going to congratulate you and also remind you that this doesn't need to make sense to anyone else. What you just saw does not need to make sense to anyone else but you. Okay? And you have been put on this planet to pursue your truth and continue to expand in the direction of your greatest happiness, right? Continued expansion of happiness. So this is for you. So as you continue to jot down, I'm just going to talk about a personal story, which really locks in this concept and transitions us into our next bit about the subconscious mind. So when I left my corporate gig, I had a change in values. So as I was working in corporate, before I even started, I had these values, right? So I had connection, service, freedom, travel, love, growth, all of these things, but different values were of more importance to me. So I was in the point where I really valued growth and connection. I've shifted a lot since I worked in corporate, so maybe some of the ones have fallen off now. But some of these were really important to me, so I made the conscious choice to stay and learn and develop with my corporate, okay? So that was a conscious choice of mine. Whereas, just helped brighten my face up a little bit. But, so when I was working at my corporate gig, though, what happened was my values started to shift. And I realized I needed to start making more conscious choice to align my life aligned with the new values. So I started to crave freedom. I craved a lot of balance, and the life I was living wasn't aligned to that. But then when I quit my corporate and I went out into the real world, what happened was my mind and my beliefs, again, what I was talking about before when we thought about what our peers, what our bosses, what our parents and our professors and media has told us our success, and what we've told ourselves is success from our subconscious programming, I was stuck in that definition. So despite knowing that my values had shifted and that I really, really wanted freedom and balance, and I left my corporate gig and I flew across the world to Asia, my mind was still locked in the previous definition of success. So despite everyone telling me all around me, oh my God, you're so lucky, you're living this dream, and I had moments where I was feeling that when I was aligned and when I had control of my mind. But what was happening is my subconscious programming was saying that success meant earning money. Success meant getting experience on my resume. Success meant networking with professionals. Okay. So I kept acting subconsciously in my real world to a point where I was like trying to do those old definitions. So I was in Bali, literally just quit my job, had plenty of money to travel and to enjoy and to explore. And I spent all my time at a co-working space networking to find work and to create business models that I would not ever use. I have notebooks, business models, okay? So what was happening was that my mind was behind me. And this has happened several times throughout my journey. So I finally recognized, my mind's finally caught up a bit to where I was at in Bali, but then I recognized that travel became such an important factor. I didn't want to grow in terms of like the formal old definition of success grow. I wanted to explore, I don't have culture on here, but it's a huge value of mine. I wanted to travel, I wanted to explore culture, I wanted to do all those things. And then again, my mind was behind me. So then I was stuck back in the beliefs I started to create about what travel meant in the Bali realm, in the digital nomad realm. So then I kept feeling like I was not successful because I wasn't a digital nomad. Even though I was living an incredible life, motorbiking through Vietnam, I still felt stuck back in Bali, right? So these concepts are that your mind is stuck. And it makes sense when we start to dig into the subconscious mind. I hope you like my drawing of the brain. So our subconscious mind, it's really important, okay? So our subconscious minds are record keepers. They lock in everything in our life. And if you know the progression, if you understand the progression of children through adolescence into adulthood, you understand the development as emotional, mental, and physical, and can recognize how our brain develops, how we do not have the ability to really process things and use our brain and use our tools to really store things properly and discern for ourselves and create our own beliefs. So what ends up happening is things get locked in. Typically by age 7, a lot of things have been locked in from our environment, from our parents, from our media, from our siblings, from our peers, if we're already going to daycare or elementary school before we're 7. And what happens when we're locked in is that our subconscious mind is running on autopilot most of the time. Most of the time we're operating from our subconscious mind. And what happens is our subconscious mind have created our beliefs, right? So our beliefs impact our thoughts, which impact our emotions, which create our actions or inactions. And that's what are getting us our results in life. So if our subconscious mind is locked into something from our past or some belief that isn't ours and is our parents', is our society's, is our media's, what's going to happen is we're going to continue to get the result achieve that is indicating, or we're going to get like no result because we get stalled up in this battle between ourselves. Another thing to note about our subconscious mind is that our mind is constantly, its purpose is to keep us safe. Keep us safe and keep us from using as much energy. We're animals to our core. So like a like a puppy starts to learn as a puppy, right, not to run the road in Bali, for example. It learns not to run on the road because it might have almost gotten hit. So it learns from an old age, or from a young age. It's a program. It's an understanding. So it doesn't even go run into the road anymore. Well, Bali dogs, you get my point. But like, they'll run on the road and they'll go sit there because they know they won't get hit. But whatever. It's the same concept. So it's keeping us safe. And by doing that, as humans, when we start to change something in our world, when we recognize we have new values, our mind is locked into those old patternings, and it doesn't want to change. It wants to keep you where you are at. It wants to use as least energy as possible. And because of this, what happens is our subconscious mind then pulls every old thought that can possibly be there to then sabotage us. So it really is it's pulling all the records of what indicates that you shouldn't be doing something, and it gives all the reasons why you shouldn't. So then ultimately you end up not doing anything. It pulls the old records, so then you start to feel anxiety, so then you don't take any action. And it's beautiful and it's powerful because it's kept us safe for such a long period of time, but it can harm us, especially in the pursuit of success. So I'm going to give through a couple examples of this. So in terms of success. So if, for example, since you were little, it's all talked about in your family, is that successful people are pretentious jerks. Again, we're not even specifying what successful even means, but just the concept, you see the rich people down the road and they're successful in your family's perception, and they're pretentious jerks. And they don't care about everyone. And they don't care about anyone but themselves. If that's a long outstanding belief, your subconscious mind, as you try to pursue success without having clearly redefined it and understood and getting clear on it, it's going to keep you from becoming the person that you despise, because you have this mental record that they're pretentious jerks who's successful. Or another example, you're starting your own business and you have seen all of this talk, or that people keep saying to you, this has happened to me, myself, and I, that when you start your own business, everyone keeps saying you're going to be working really long hours. It's going to be everything that you do. You're going to like live, breathe, eat, sleep your business. And you have no other hobbies. It's just going to be work. Your subconscious mind will then self-sabotage you. And even if you have done enough things during the day, you might feel like the hours you worked were still not good enough, and that you need to fill it with more time. Okay? And this goes for these concepts, but also when you're like then creating your business. So maybe you really crave and you value connection and service, but your belief about successful people means that you have to sell and that you have to deliver a product. Like, that's what success in your mind is. If you haven't rewired that, then you will not be able to find a model that suits you that includes connection and service, right? So the key to rewiring yourself for authentic success, I know is what we're wanting to be on this call for, on this workshop for, is really beginning to continuously question your beliefs. And when we start to continuously question our beliefs every time something comes into our head, because our beliefs, our thoughts, everything like that, when these come in, we can recognize them as our subconscious mind throwing crap at us to really not let us get to where we want to be, keep us safe, to keep us where we are, keep us small, save energy. So when we start questioning our beliefs, we start reprogramming our mind. And the ways to reprogram our mind, the most easy and accessible to everyone, everywhere, at any time, is repetition. And so when we create a daily practice and a minute-by-minute practice as much to consciously consciously question our beliefs as they arise and those thoughts that come into our heads, we are continuously creating a new pattern in our minds to support our new beliefs. Okay? So this concept is so huge, again, for that exact same concept that I discussed earlier about our mind being behind our desires and our values and our definition of success. So what changed for me in my journey is I started being able to really question my beliefs with the understanding of its connection with my subconscious mind. It made sense. The engineer in me was like, oh my God, it's science. So it's not some airy-fairy concept. It's science, right? And that's so big. And so what I've created and the method that I've been using in order to help myself continuously repattern my mind is I use journaling. And by the daily practice of journaling and the ad hoc use of journaling as things arise, I am then also training my mind on how to do it on its own. And so my automatic programming is to question. My automatic programming is to really think about and discern my thoughts of whether it's my subconscious thought running loose or if it's a true, authentic belief, intuitive belief. Okay? And so this is a nice take-home journaling exercise. I spoke that I was hoping this workshop would be 45 minutes. I think we're gonna hit that just about. But this journaling exercise has 3 steps, and it follows the framework that I use in my coaching programs quite closely in terms of realizing the belief, reframing it, and rising. So, and really moving through it. So, again, realize is identifying and questioning the belief which is limiting you. Okay? So really like being like, whoa, like what is going on here? You know, like that conscious awareness. Meditation helps with this. Breathing practices helps with this. Allowing yourself space for your mind to chatter, actually, so that you can see the trends and the threads that come through and start questioning this belief. So something that I like to do here, right, and we're going to just keep talking about this first step, is identifying, but then also questioning it. So I also like to ask the question, and if you've followed me along, you understand, you've heard this before, is this 100% true? Is this 100% your truth, this belief? And a really big one in combination of what we've already discussed today is have a question for this step is, have I adopted this belief from someone else or a previous experience, which is not here and now and mine? This step is really powerful to get clarity, to really realize what's going on, to stop the autopilot from running, to teach your subconscious mind that it can't just go off on its own. Okay? This step of realization is powerful because it's really going to move you into another layer of and experience of and practice of really being present and having control in your life. The next step, as I said, is reframe. Okay? So choose new and prove. So what I like to do next is, after I've really pulled up this limiting belief and looked at it and seen what's going on, I then make it a challenge to prove to myself how inauthentic to my personal truth that limiting belief is, or that belief in general. So, for example, with success, that it takes, that it has to be hard. Okay? My core value is that there's ease, flow, and grace within my work. Okay? I'm not saying it doesn't take, that I'm not going to work long time. But what I am saying is that I can reframe and rewire what I'm doing. And that me working long number of hours can be easeful and have flow. Like preparing for this workshop, it took me a bit longer than I expected. And instead of being like, oh, it's really hard for me to create this material, I was like, no, it's really easy and it flows out of me, and just started really then choosing an authentically aligned belief about the situation. So the next step, so first you're challenging it and challenging to prove how inauthentic it is to your truth, and then choosing an authentically aligned belief to the situation. And so I did that here. I do that whenever whenever some of these limiting beliefs come in terms of my success. And then I'm listing out all of the ways that I know this to be the real truth. So I find examples in the real world which prove that this is super duper true. So then I go on and I'll listen to my favorite leaders, or they're like my coach, or people within my network who live lives that are aligned to my values, and I see them and I see the way they work, and I talk to them, and I sometimes even borrow their beliefs and see what they're doing and prove to myself this is right. I can work long hours, I can be successful, and it can still be easy and it can still flow. Okay. And then the last step of things is rising. So get behind and implement. So the last thing is to really bring it back to your core values. It kind of, this first bit overlaps a little bit with your reframing, but really getting clear again on this new belief. What values is it holding true to? So mine is true to the ease, flow, and grace. Also love, right? Balance. It's like, yeah, all these things. I am like so balanced because it's easy and it's flowing. And I took the whole, I don't know, for example, like one day maybe I like took the previous day off, or I worked out all morning. So I have balance now. I'm evening it out and I'm doing the work later, right? And then last and most importantly is the implementing. Doing something aligned. So based on this new belief, this empowering belief, this value aligned belief, what is one action that I can take today to lock this in? So what is one action that can really lock this whole process in? Again, our subconscious minds are record keepers. So if we go through and what's the biggest record that we can see examples in the real world? Doing things in the real world. A result. Right? So what we can do, and what we can, again, through this repetition, not just the mind work, but the actual action in the real world, we are now proving to our subconscious mind that those old beliefs are no longer true. These new beliefs that are aligned to your authentic version of success are true. And taking action from there. And programming your mind from a place of there. Right? And when you lock this in, as a journaling exercise, as you're getting this written down, you create records of truth. You help your subconscious mind to program. So if I had this as I was stepping through my success and taking record every day of how, no, what I was doing was aligned with my current value of success, I believe through and through that I would have enjoyed my journey so much more. I would have enjoyed all the time I traveled. I would have enjoyed the volunteer experience. I would have enjoyed the work experience. I would have enjoyed the present moment here and now so much more, the development of who I am and my person and my business, had I really gotten my mind behind it. And so that's why I'm doing this. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm talking about these things, because it's so important to get our minds behind it, to get our subconscious mind behind it, to lock this in. So that being said, so much was covered today. This was just like a really compact version. I didn't know I was speaking a lot and very quickly. But today we really challenged your definition of success. We got clear on what your current core values are, which are really important to really move through this thing, right? And we created a visualization, which you can always go back to. Grab onto that kite, pull yourself up, go into the future, look down on yourself, right? Really let yourself use that visualization as a tool to lock yourself in to that authentic version of yourself who is really not too separate from you. You can have those feelings, those things here and now. Just pull them back with you with that kite as you return back to earth. And we talked about the subconscious mind and really got clear and understood why our subconscious mind does what it does, why our thoughts are the way that they are, why it is important to challenge our thoughts so that they don't become emotions, so they don't become actions, so they don't become results that we do not want. We can challenge those beliefs and those thoughts as they arise. And when we challenge those as they arise through the journaling exercise that I spoke about in terms of the realizing, the reframing, and the rising, the journal exercise, and then using that journal exercise as a daily mind exercise, that can be then used to help you challenge your beliefs, rewire your mind for authentic success, and get yourself behind what it is important for you. So I just wanted to say that this stuff is what I love talking about. This stuff is what I'm here for. This is what I love to do. I love to talk about. It's always filtered in to what I'm speaking about. So if you'd like to find me, I am on Instagram. I'm on Instagram at Chloe Handelman. Very easy to find me. DEL, it's a little different spelling. It's also in the comment section here. Find me on Instagram. I talk about this stuff all the time. And I wanted to thank the Whole Health Project for having me on this platform to share with other wellness practitioners and viewers about how you can rewire your mind for authentic success and really take control and do that thing that you've always wanted to do. And so, yeah, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, things you want to talk more about, things you want me to expand on, leave them in the comments below. Shoot me a message on Facebook or Instagram. And thank you so much for joining in here today. This was such a pleasure, so much fun. I'm so happy to be able to share all of what I know with you. So much love and gratitude. Have a wonderful day.